I've been down in Spokane, Washington for the weekend at the Farm and Food Expo down there with Jean-Martin Fortier, and had Roger with me. We had a great time, but we got completely hammered by winter, like in one day. We went from sort of Indian summer to winter in one day, literally. The day that I left, actually, we drove down. Roger and I drove down to Spokane, and it was pretty scary. We went really slow. It took almost 7 hours to get there. Normally a 5-hour drive, and it was a little nerve-wracking. White knuckle drive. We left early in the morning. We got there alive. We got back safe too, but it is full-on winter now. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Usually we get this kind of cold snap mid-October earliest, usually late October. Came the 2nd of November, unbelievable. And what I'm doing today is just something really quick, actually, is I'm just checking up on the tunnels to make sure that everything is okay, that we still have greens that we can harvest, and I'm really delightfully surprised to see that we do. This is the unheated tunnel, so there's lettuce in here. I'll check the other one next door to it as well. But this looks good. This Salanova lettuce looks great. So that is good news. We've got a bunch of other caterpillar tunnels to check as well, but I'm assuming that if this one is okay, they're all okay, at least the unheated greenhouses. So we have 2 caterpillar tunnels at a plot a few blocks away. That's all carrots. So those carrots are in the ground, so they should be fine. And then we've got the caterpillar tunnel in my neighbor's backyard. I looked at it and it's totally fine. And then a caterpillar tunnel a block away, or 2 tunnels a block away with greens in there. And it should be fine as well if this is fine. So all I had to do today really is come and see this. And so when I get a cold snap like this, I want to come and I look at the crop, and I'm looking for, so let me just say, first of all, the temperature right now outside is just above freezing. It's 2 degrees Celsius. So that, for those of you who use Fahrenheit, that's just above freezing, whatever Fahrenheit and whatever freezing in Fahrenheit is, 30 something. So just above freezing. And so what I'm looking for here is dark green spots on here, and that's kind of like freezing damage. So if these have frozen really hard, when they thaw out, they'll just go limp, like they'll die essentially. Spinach is fine with it. Lettuce doesn't handle it as well. Now this is the like Salanova lettuce, which is what all this stuff is, doesn't really overwinter that well. I can push it into the winter, but it doesn't overwinter. Like it won't pass January, but I can get it to Christmas. If this weather continues or gets worse, probably not. I probably won't get it that far. So I'm thinking what our strategy is going to be here is we've actually cropped out the hothouse today. Mark kind of finished harvesting there, and we want to get this stuff, we want to harvest this stuff as soon as we can so that we can get a second cut from the hothouse, because that greenhouse is partially heated and it's doing great. Like the lettuce in there is thriving. Since we changed our poly in there, we're getting a lot more light in there, and it's nice and warm. It was 30 degrees Celsius in there today, which is balmy summer weather. And he harvested the last 2 beds of lettuce, and then we're already going on to the second cut of the first 2 we cut a couple weeks ago. So it's still almost summer weather in there. You know, nights are cold, but there's still production. So with these tunnels, it's unlikely that we would get 2 cuts from this lettuce. If we cut all of this now, it's not really going to grow back in an unheated greenhouse unless the weather were to really significantly change for a couple weeks and we had nice warm days or sunny days, then maybe. But we're also diminishing our light. Our day lengths and our nighttime temperatures are getting lower, so it's unlikely that we'll get a second cut. But I'm really thrilled to see that we've got a crop here. We've got lots of turnips here as well, and they're still standing up very well. They're starting to bulb up down on the bottom here, so that's good. These still quite aren't ready to harvest though. It might be another 2 weeks till we pick those. As long as we keep getting sunny days, which we've been having, then we'll get a harvest from those. You know, one of the challenges we have in our climate with winter farming is that we have a valley, and we have this sort of humidity inversion where all of the clouds settle. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but all the clouds settle in the valley during the winter, and it's just cloudy for 3 months. And so growing in greenhouses is challenging because we don't get the sunlight. And it doesn't get as cold as some other places, but without the sunlight, things don't grow. And so that's the difference that we have, say, from people in the northeastern part of the United States, like where Elliot Coleman has been farming, is they're really cold, but they get a lot of sun in the winter. And so if you're growing in greenhouses, that's a good thing. That's almost necessary. So I'm just going to check up on the other greenhouse here as well. Our low tunnels have done okay as well. They haven't collapsed. We've only got a few inches of snow, so it's nothing major yet, but all of these crops under here should be harvested the next month or so. I don't really plan to take those too far into the winter. So down here is an example of how the overwintering spinach kind of works in a way. So you can see it's kind of gone limp, like it's down. So this spinach won't be harvested anytime soon. That wasn't the plan with it. The plan is to have this into February. Now, weather can change and it could grow, because spinach can grow in colder temperatures far better than lettuce. But you can see how it's kind of limp. It's laying down like this. And during the winter, you can't harvest it. Let's just say this was a bit more mature and it was at a stage that it could be harvested. You can't harvest it when it's limp like that. You have to wait until a day that's a little bit warmer and sunnier, and then it'll kind of spruce up, especially in a greenhouse where you know the heat will be magnified. It'll spruce up, then you harvest it. So you have to time it. You have to time your harvests very carefully. Now it's going to be the same for carrots or even kale if you had it in the ground as well, because kale will do the same. It'll droop down in the winter when it's really cold, but on a sunny day, especially in a greenhouse, it'll spruce back up to life, and then that's when you have to harvest it. Here at this other plot, a block from my house, we had these 2 beds of radishes here that we should have harvested before the snow, so those are done. That's a write-off, unfortunately. We still got a couple that are under other low tunnels, so we still have some radishes, but those ones there are certainly done. Let's take a look here. So just peeking under there, things look okay. The lettuce looks the same as it did at the other plot, so the lettuce survived, the spinach is fine. So really, the only total loss so far are those radish beds that weren't covered before the snow came. So we'll go check up on a couple other places and see what happened there. So one challenge with the caterpillar tunnels in the winter when you get snow is that the snow kind of goes in between the bows, and it's a bit tricky to lift up. So you have to get dirty to do it, but you basically got to get in here and pull it away. So this is good news in here. Salanova has handled -8 Celsius. That's what it's been getting down to every night. So it's still good. It's nice and firm. Doesn't have any green, dark green blotches. That's usually where you can tell the freezing damage on it. It doesn't have any of that. So far I can say Salanova is good into the winter up to -8. So I'm expecting -10 in the next couple days, and then I saw in the 2-week forecast we've got -15 Celsius coming up. So we'll see how it does then. So finishing off here in the hothouse, it's great, and we played it good. It was a bit of a gamble, but the strategy here was to, because this lettuce here has all been cut. You can actually see our succession. You can see that we cut these two first, and they're already on their way to recovery. We cut these two next, and then we cut these two. So we had all the caterpillar tunnels, or most of the caterpillar tunnels have lettuce in them, and the other tunnels at our flagship plot have lettuce in them. And that lettuce is pretty well established. So the plan was, let's start harvesting in here first, because this stuff was growing well, and it was getting to the point where it was getting so big that if we didn't harvest it, it would get too big and it would start to just be kind of a mess. So we thought, well, let's start in here, get all this cropped out, because we've still got a decent amount of time until it gets really cold and dark, that we'll probably get another cut from all this. Meanwhile, we've got all those caterpillar tunnels and other tunnels full of lettuce. So now this is done. We've done 2 beds a week for the last 3 weeks. Now we can start harvesting those other tunnels at the same rate, and then we'll burn through those. We've got about 2, 4, 6, 8. We've got at least another 4 or 5 weeks of lettuce in those tunnels, and then by that time all this stuff should be good to go, probably even before. So we've got a solid 6 to 7, possibly 8 weeks of greens left. However, it's unlikely that in 8 weeks, like right now we're beginning of November, 8 weeks would be end of December. Might be a little too cold by then. You never know, we'll see, weather can change, but that's the plan. That's how we're harvesting in succession going into winter. Hope you guys found that helpful. If you want to see more stuff like this, hit the subscribe button right now. Please like and share the videos with your friends, and check out my workshops coming up, stuff in New Zealand, more in the US. Got a 5-day workshop in Queen Creek, Arizona. That is almost sold out. So if you guys want tickets for that, you want to jump on it soon. That one is on February 26th through March 2nd. All right, talk to you later.